Today I'm going to give a little tour in my Lightroom and show some of the raw files that I shoot with absolutely zero editing, zero Lightroom adjustments. It's the actual photo straight from the camera. I'll show you some of the presets that I've created to kind of speed up my workflow if I'm editing photos that are in the same lighting situation. I'll show you the presets on various photos that I have below here. I've put together a whole bunch of photos, varying from studio, from boudoir to outdoors a bit, mainly focusing on the last presets that I've created, and just kind of give you an idea of what my raw file coming in looks like and what I do to it before I go towards Photoshop to start editing. Here's one of the photos that I've done recently. You've probably seen it posted not too long ago. This is the raw file, so no editing, no adjustments, everything is at zero. So this is exactly how the photo looked coming in from the camera. So I'm just going to show you what some of these presets that I've created can kind of look like on this unedited file, unadjusted file. So I have a few on the side. Obviously the ones that are made for outdoors and in the bedroom aren't going to look that great. But I have one here that's called Studio 2020, which is the one I go to quite often for anything that's a studio shot. So I tend to go away from the red tones in the skin within Lightroom. I also kind of get rid of the red blotchiness a bit with my color adjusting. So here's one with the studio preset applied to it. Now if I go to any of the other studio shots that I have here, let me grab this one for example. So once again, this is the straight file, straight out of camera, no adjustments, nothing at all. Now if I go to that same preset that I had here, this is simply what it's going to do. So it's not a huge change, but it just adds a bit of light into the center, and it goes a little bit more towards the blue than the complete red side of the colors. So any of these, all these photos once again have zero adjustments done to them. So I just add the studio look. So same thing, if I apply the same preset, it's just going to give a little bit more light pop. So I would probably bring down the exposure a bit, but this is kind of the rough starting point that I would go with. Same thing for these. So still the studio shots. So if I apply this preset to it, this is what I would start with. And there's a whole bunch here that I have that I could do the same thing with. So here's another one that I've posted recently. So once again, this is the straight out of camera photo. And I would tend to kind of pull it a bit to the blue and light it up a bit before I go into Photoshop. Now anything that's not studio will vary a bit more because I shoot a lot with natural light or just with a flash as well. So a mix of natural light and flash. So if I take, let's say if I take this photo for example, which is very dark, I have a few presets that I've created that work quite well for these type of photos as well. So I have some that are a bit more desaturated, a bit more into the turquoise colors. Some will have like a lot of punchy red that I've done recently as well. But I do have some that will just really bring out a nice kind of bluish tone in the skin tones. So in this case I would pretty much use this preset here that I've created. And if I wanted to, I could add this entire preset. So this entire series is very similar. So if I want to give this entire series the same look, I can just apply that same preset to that whole batch. And it's just as easy as that. All these now have that same kind of bright colors to them. So if I move on to another batch, so this is taken same model but from a different time completely. So I could apply that same preset if I wanted to, and I could also go into some of the more reddish looking ones. This one is very contrasty with the blue and red. So just to give you an idea of what the different color tones could look like. So all these are in one of my preset packs. So this is actually an exact preset pack in its own, on itself. So you can see a lot of the colors that I use quite often in my photos are already kind of showing up in my Lightroom color toning. Here's one that I did outdoors last summer. Obviously we're in the winter right now, so it's a little bit cold to do this right now. I'm going to kind of censor the crap out of these photos because I'm not sure of how touchy YouTube is on see-through clothing and such. So sorry if there's bars absolutely everywhere in this little video. So here's one that I have a preset that I made. I could use any of these presets, but the one that I specifically made for the outdoors was this one here, which was used in my the final photo of this edit. So once again, if I want to apply this and apply it to all the same pictures of the series, I can just apply that to the entire batch. It's just that quick to go through them. So now they all have that same color tone to them, which is what I usually do when I'm editing in when I start editing in Lightroom. Sometimes I'll output a whole series of photos real quick. So this is what I'll do just to make everything have the exact same look. I'm not doing them one by one, I'm just applying the whole thing to an entire series of photos. So I'll show you a few more. So here's another photo, raw file once again, absolutely no adjustments done to it. So if I go through these same presets that I had before, you can see the various color tonings and looks that I could give that same photo. So I don't always simply use the preset and leave it at that. I'll just use the preset as a starting point. So here's a boudoir shot I've done recently. So same thing, if I want to kind of just go through some presets, I can push through them and you'll see different looks. These were all shot with natural light with one flash on the side. And once again, if I want to apply this to that entire series, I just select the whole thing, apply that preset to the whole batch, and now I have the entire series of photos with that same color look, same color toning. Here's another series that I've done recently. So I'm obviously going to have to censor these. So this is the raw file. This is the original photo from direct from camera, and this is the same photo with that the preset applied to it. So I'll show you a few more. I don't want this video to be too long. I'm just kind of want to go through some of the raw files that I have and versus what the photos look like once they have the preset done, and obviously the edited versions they're available on my Facebook and on my Instagram. So here's a raw file from one of the photos that I've shot in the hallway that I do quite often. You can kind of get an idea of how the lighting is set up. There's a light set up in the room beside her on this side, and I have a little softbox behind with a grid, just kind of giving some light from behind. So this is the actual photo, raw, straight from camera. And the way that I would kind of edit this, especially with the whole glass pane on the side here, is I would kind of go towards a turquoise color. So I would go not so bright as this, but I would kind of go through like something in the, yeah, more like this one. So I have a whole hallway set that I'm kind of, the color toning that I'm working on here for the next set, but this is pretty close to where I would go with this one. So it gives it a nice kind of coolish vibe on the side, and she kind of pops out from the middle. So once again, this is the raw file, no adjustments, and with the preset that I had onto that photo, this is what it looks like. So no heavy editing, it's simply the color toning and the lighting adjustments within Lightroom and the presets that I've created. So same thing, so I can go into the presets and just kind of browse for a look that I would want to give this. And I already know that it would be kind of gravitating towards these, the ones that I have done for the presets I've done for the hallway kind of lighting. So just kind of gives you an idea of what they could look like. Same thing here, so a couple more still in the hallway. Can simply use some of these presets that I've pre-made. So yeah, that's pretty much my starting points within Lightroom. Once again, this is a photo shot with natural light and the light from the lamps coming in from the sides. No adjustments done whatsoever. So it's very red, very dark at this point. Not really a color that I would want to start with myself. So if I go into the presets that I have, once again I can kind of come into these. Anything that I shoot boudoir, I kind of tend to have like this bluish orange kind of look to it that I kind of like. So most likely I'd end up going with this preset. But I'll just go through the other ones. These are a bit more subtle. That's the outdoor one, so it's not really going to apply. The studio one, and these are going to be much more colored, very dark. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an idea of what my photos look like straight from camera. I get asked quite often what my photos look like coming straight from camera versus once I'm done editing. This will kind of give you an idea of where my starting point is. So once again, these photos have zero developing done to them, straight from raw files. So this is, as you can see, it's the raw file here at the bottom. So all I do is kind of go into the presets I've pre-made, especially if it's something for studio. I know it's going to be very consistent, and I'll just apply this pretty much at large on the photos that I want to do. So once again, this is a photo straight from camera, and with the preset applied, same thing, straight from camera. Here's one I posted recently, and preset applied. Those who have seen this photo, if you've noticed that I've cropped it tighter a bit, so the knees are cropped out and it's this whole headroom space is cropped out. But that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. I hope this answers a few of your questions concerning what my raw files directly from camera look like versus once I'm done adjusting them in Lightroom. Gives you a good idea of what my photos would actually look like. Once again, a lot of these presets are all available at the link below, including the one that's on the screen right now. So just to give you a reminder of what the photo looked like before. So this is with the preset. This was the raw file directly from camera. And again, if I think it's this one over here, yeah. If I apply the preset once again, it comes into this. For example, anything that was really studio doesn't really have that much of a change done to it. The presets are just really adding a little bit of a punch to them. So the Studio 2020, the one that I use most often for anything studio, is really just the natural shot with just a few color adjustments and a little bit of a brightness adjustment.